Your hands. Ah, you're looking good. I'm gonna sing my song. It won't take long. We're gonna do the twist, and it goes like this. That's not true. We're not gonna do the twist. But sometimes you get a song stuck in your head and you just have to get it out. So what we're gonna do today, y'all that's been following along know that I have put a headliner in here and I've got to this far back. I'm gonna climb over in the back seat and show you between here and here. That's not even an inch, and I need to make me a piece of Luan that's this wide, but I need to round the corners, because if you see here how this corner rounds around there, so once I cut me a little piece of Luan, I can cover it with this material, and then what I'm going to do is get me a piece of oak like I used here. I'm going to put it across here, and there's a piece of metal here that I can stick a bolt into without going through the roof of the car, which will pin this back up. What I'll do is I'll cut the piece of oak to go across this lip so that it'll sort of hold up both pieces. And you see when you pin this back up, well, you gain a goodly little bit of headroom, which matters. I mean, if you're sitting in the back of the car, you don't want to be sitting in the back of the car with your head, touching. And I could, if I wanted to, put a bolt right into that in the middle. That would work too. There's options. So first thing to do is just take my measurements, and what I want to do is measure the longest section here. And I'll probably cut something about square, and then I'll have to come back and I'll have to start working on shaping the angle across over there to get that right. So that is the plan. We had a big car show weekend this last weekend, and Honey Babe's back home. We have another car show coming up this coming weekend. So anything I get done here is going to be awesome. And one of the things I'll be working on after that is I'll probably start right about here and try to figure out a way to put some of this type of material in around this back part here, around where the window is, and also get some insulation in that. And I was over at Don's house yesterday, and he gave me some material that would probably be good use for insulation. That's it rolled up over there. So that's what we're up to. I'll get my tape measure and my pencils and my material, and we'll work it from there. We got a beautiful day to work with today. I'm enjoying it a lot. So the next thing I'm going to do, this basically is a square cut version of what I'm going to need for that part. But what I'm going to do, the back of this shapes something like this. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to measure from the turning point to where it starts going straight across, if there is one. And then I can mark that point, and I can mark this point, and I can work my way out with measurements to try to figure the angle. Like if I go down 1 inch and 2 inches and 3 inches and measure it, I can get some marking points so that I can cut this curve in each side, with the hope that when I set that in there, it should go right up in place. And this is the straightest side, because this is the piece of plywood from the edge. So this is the side that I want to go up against what I've got in there now. And this side here, since it's my cut, it might not be exactly straight, but it might not matter that much back there anyway. And then after I get this cut made, I'll do the same with this that I did with that other. I'll use some contact cement and glue the material to it, and then flip it over and use some spray glue and some staples to connect the edges around it. And then we'll put that up in there and support it with a piece of that maple then I'm going to have to shape and put into place. Oh, the joy. Okay, so the way we get to begin to figure out our curve is the first thing we do is we figure out the center of this piece of wood, which is here. And then we take that up here. So this is the center. Now the part inside the car where this piece is straight is 34.5 inches wide. And then from there it curls around to, I'm going to have to look at that. Let's go look at it. Because see, I need to know where my curve starts and where it ends. So let's get in the car. So that curve on these ends is 34.5 from over here to over here. And then on this edge, that actually, well, see, I need to decide, and this little piece of insulation is kind of in the way, but I need to decide how far back this goes before the curve starts. Maybe I should just pull this thing out of the way so that, because it's marking up my, there. So I would not say that this is straight. I would say this actually starts to curve right at the edge of this. So I need to make a curve that would come just pretty much from the edge of this to about here. That needs to be about how my curve needs to be. Now what I might want to do is get me a piece of cardboard that I can use to mark this corner with. Sometimes if you got a piece of cardboard, you can set up in here and then you can reach over and make a curve on the cardboard, and you can use that to cut your curve here. That might be the best way to do it. Let me see what I can find. Now I'm going to try to use this camera to get inside of here. Well, I'm going to get inside here and make that corner, but I'm hoping this camera will allow me to get a clear enough view of what I'm doing so that you can see it. And to be honest with you, I hadn't even figured it out in my head yet. I know what I'm doing, but I won't really know until I get in there and try it. Both these corners are going to be the same, so if I can make one to work from, then it'll work on both. And what I've done is I've cut a little piece of wood to represent my edge, and I've got this little gizmo here which I can stretch out and lock down. This is a pretty old tool and it's kind of stuck. See if I can get it to loosen up. Yeah. Hadn't been used in about 100 years probably. I need it to go about that wide right there. And that ain't gonna hold because that's wore out. That threads wore out on this part. But maybe I can still get what I need from it. Well, that's pretty ugly, but it will give me a place to start. So let me, I actually got a pair of scissors. This tool didn't lock, which made it harder. It's got a little thumb screw here, but it's stripped, I guess. So that would have been easier if I could have locked that. But anyway, you just try it with what we got. One thing about it, I can cut it with a pair of scissors and then come back and stick it up in there and see how close I am. Work from there. Well, this is close, but it's not exact. I need about a fingertip more on this edge. But what I should be able to do is take this one and cut another one. I've got another piece of plywood or stuff over there. Let me get me a pencil. So see, I'm going to use this one to draw this, but I'm going to add about a 1/2 inch here. So if I come up like this, more like this maybe. Try that. Probably cut this better with a sharp knife than I can with these scissors. Let me grab one. I got one out there, I think. By the way, here's kind of a tip. It might be of interest to you. This kind of knife right here, I use a lot. And I used to go up to Harbor Freight or my local hardware store, and they'd have a bunch of these on the counter you could get for like, I don't know, 50 cents a piece, something like that. And I'd buy a whole pocket full of them. But I noticed the other day I went to some of the stores around here and I couldn't find any that were like $2 or $3 a piece. So I went on Temu, and I think it was Temu. It's one of those Chinese places, and I found where you could buy like 5 dozen of these for just a few bucks, which I did. I bought however many dozen it was. I know I've got a dozen here and a couple dozen of them in the other shop, and I got them spread around the property. That way when I need one, I can just grab one, and I didn't have to pay, you know, $2 or $3 a piece for them. I got them for literally pennies, which is good because I use them a lot. I use them like this till they get dull. Once they get dull, they're no good. So if I can buy them and throw them away, grab another one like that, it works better than trying to do it with anything else I can think of. Now, this should fit. It doesn't fit this way, so it should fit. Huh. Well, the curve fits, but the back part don't fit. But I should be able to draw this. See, that fits right in that curve there. So if I take my little knife and I just work from here and make a scratch across that, I think that goes to right about there. Right about there. This is a good way to cut yourself. Try not to do that. Not good for your health if you cut yourself, especially if you get a big bleed going on. You can lose a lot of blood sometimes before you get to the house. Now that is, I got to get the side angle right. That is pretty close right there. So I'm gonna mark it with my pencil. This is the side that I want to go up. Right here. Yeah, if that is cut just like that, and I don't know, that's actually pretty much about dead on. So let's take this out there and we'll mark the wood with it and make the cut, and then we'll come back and see how close we can get to fitting my piece of wood up in there.